Previously on Timpin, Salone.
You heard it here first, folks. Live and direct at an undisclosed location. Maybe near you. To my right, we have my main man, Drubisky. Damn, bro. Yo, when I tell you. So, say, hypothetically, you were to be in a relationship. Would you prefer that person that you want to be in a relationship to be a male or a female? Would you want that person joining us? Unfortunately, oh damn! I just remember that. I just remember that. You literally wrote the outro right here. Okay. So we could cut it. We could cut it at the and then we'll just put it the audio right here. Switch.
What up? Good morning, people. This is the Vaugiotto broadcast show.
Timpin, Salone. We are back. Brand new episode at a very undisclosed location, possibly near you. To my immediate left, we got my main man, Drubisky.
It's good.
And to my immediate right, we got the man who can make all of this possible, Q Echelon Carter.
What up?
And at this very undisclosed location, we have a very special guest today. You may know him. He's been in the Vine world, the social media realm, making a big impact. Let me introduce you to Metroo.
Yeah, what's up? You good? You good with it? Alright, cool. Alright, yeah. Right with it.
What's good?
I love you too. What's going on? How you doing, bro?
What's good?
What's up? How we good? We good?
Yeah.
Man.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
I feel welcomed. I love it. How y'all doing?
Pretty good.
So good.
First question for the people. Oh man, for those who don't know, who is Metroo?
Metroo, the name, it comes from just like my past and just how it was in the beginning. I get this question a lot. Just like it's what I stand for. At a point in time in my life, I was like, let's just go straight into it. Might as well. At a point in time in my life, like back around like elementary school and stuff like that, I guess I was just very openly expressive. You know, I had my moments where I didn't do the greatest things. You know, everybody has a moment where you're like, I had a sus moment one time when I was a kid. Go straight into it. We'll talk to them about it. I had a sus moment, straight up. What was it? It was because I just wasn't educated. Like, I came from a Catholic school when I started doing, like, you know, as I started, school, and my African family had brought me into that, and they took me into public school, and then, like, so I wasn't very educated on things that they just don't talk about in Catholic schools. They don't talk about sexuality and stuff like that. So, you know, I just didn't know the terminologies. Every man has a sus moment. I don't even think it was I don't remember it happens. I don't care. Everybody has a sus moment. Then you analyze it, you look back at it, and you're like, wow, that was sus. I probably shouldn't have done that, but it's in time, it happened. I don't think I did anything that crazy out of pocket though. But I did some. I guess like there was a time in like 4th grade, we had a project to do. We had to go to the back of the classroom. I forgot what I did. I have no idea, no recollection of what I did. It was nothing crazy, but somebody said, ha, but I didn't know the terminology. They're like, ha, Michael, you're so gay. I was like, all right. I didn't have any friends at the time, so I was like, all right, I don't know what that means. But they laughed, so I'm assuming it's a good thing. So I'm like, because I don't know. So I was like, I know, right? Because I had 2 seconds to go ahead and say, but then after that, you know, like a conspiracy went around and like, yo, Michael's gay, this, that, and the other. I didn't do anything, but like, you know, so that happens, and like, I guess, you know, people, I got bullied at a point in time around that because like they just wouldn't leave that alone. Then I had like these specific people that would go ahead and like call me out. They would call me like metrosexual and stuff like that. I'm like, it's a true story. I'm like, what is that? I don't know what that is. So then they would short it down, call me Metro. I was like, huh? What are you talking about?
You kept the name?
I kept the name, but I put a second O. Here's why I put the second O to keep away from misconceptions. So you don't think that when you first hear the word Metro. There's 2 O's. So you know.
2 O's.
But I was like, the reason why I kept the name was like, all right, I just have this. It's not even like a vengeance. It's just a thing where it's like, all right, you don't necessarily know me, but you've put a title on me. I'm gonna take that, not out of, you know, why you gave it to me, but I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna show you that I can flip it. I'll take the name, put a second O to draw away from misconception, just keep that out of the way, and I'm gonna turn it into something. So that's where the name came from. I just keep it because it also is convenient. My first name, Michael, there's an M. Last name got the O, there's an O at the end of it, and it's catchy. Metro, but I'm not Metro Boomin though. It's a misconception I get a lot. I'm not him.
So you're using almost what people use to divide you to your advantage.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, I stand for that because, like, you know, anybody can put like a title or a specific judgment on you, but it's like, you know, nobody really knows who you are and what you can like bring out to the world. So I was like, I thought I could turn it into something and it would just be a statement back then. I don't know. I was weird. I was a stupid kid, but I got the name still. So there's that. Yeah, bro.
So you came up under, for the people that don't know, would you say your Vine kind of influencer kind of started the whole way, or?
I mean, since I was like a kid, I was always making videos like throughout like middle school and stuff. So that was always there.
Right.
But I guess it wasn't until Vine that things started to like, you know, change. I guess because I was supposed to like get into YouTube at the time, but you know, that's just what had ended up happening. But if we're talking about just like where things are today, I mean, I just consider myself an influencer, like an entertainer. I feel like a lot of people, there's a lot, like I had an audience through Vine, but I feel like a lot of people like thought I passed away, like, cause you know, Vine passed away. So it's like, you know, I definitely do feel that, but I'm an entertainer, you know, that's how I go use it by, you know, there is no cap, no pun intended, to what I'm, you know, trying to do right now.
Talk about the kind of shift, as you said, Vine kind of shut down. So talk about if it was difficult at all to transfer to Vine to any other platforms you're still using, kind of what you said.
Yeah, it was definitely difficult because, like, you know, since I had used Vine so frequently, you start to think in a 6-second aspect. It's a totally different type of like content. So you know, when we heard that Vine was dying, I had absolutely no idea. Like, you know, it was a rumor at the time. They're like, oh, you know, worst days are ahead. They're spreading that rumor. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then they're talking about Vine. I'm like, what? No, Vine's gonna be here forever. And then we get the message in our emails. You have this many amount of days before we gotta delete the app. You have to, these many days so you can go ahead and save your Vines, and then the app's gone. So like, you know, the shift was hard because it's like, you know, I used to only make Vines. What do I do without it? Everybody was scrambling, all the influencers and stuff like that. Yeah. So but no, it took a while. I ended up going straight into Instagram. So now instead of a 6-second mentality, I had to have I think it was like 15 at the time, and then a 60-second mentality. So it was like, you know, it was very hard, but you adapt. I think with anything, and if you just, as you go towards it, you start to adapt.
I think that. Talk about kind of the creative process or the kind of things that go into like you making a video.
I just really like to. I'm usually an open book, man. I'd like to talk about just like what happens in my life and try and see if I can dramatize it. At least the relatable things, at least, because you know that's what really catches on the internet. You got to relate to the audience, but at the same time have a little charm to what you're doing that makes you followable or like impressionable to like the audience.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Next, another question we have: growing up in Maryland, would you say like growing up in that area influenced your content, like basically creativity wise?
Yeah, to an extent. Yes and no. Some of the content that I made, like if it's about roasting and stuff, oh yeah, nowhere else but Maryland. That's where they roast you. Like it's weird. That DMV area, a lot of people on the West Coast are gonna think I'm talking about the Department of Motor Vehicles. DMV on the East Coast is DC, Maryland, Virginia. Like I don't know. In that specific area, when they roast there, they roast ferociously. They roast you for you to kill yourself out there. Usually a roast is for you to go ahead and, go home and think about what your choice of clothing or whatever we're roasting you on did to you. But not when it's out in the DMV, they're coming for blood. But yeah, so like in terms of that sense, I would like if I did like a roast video or something like that, that's where it would come from, the DMV roots. But other than that, like I would always like outsource in terms of like trying to get inspiration of content. I would watch like a lot of people on the West Coast because those are the main people that went into Vine as if it was like as if their lives depended on it and really made like the money and the 6-figure salaries and stuff from it. So I was looking at those people just because I mean their stuff was just funny. There weren't some Maryland like Viners. But I resonated with the people who went all out and did everything they could with the 6 seconds. Like people got into costumes and made relatable content. I like that more. So
you said you're originally from Maryland, but your parents are Nigerian, right?
Yep, Nigerian. Yeah, I've only been to like Nigeria one time in my life, and I almost died because I was allergic. I don't know what happened. We were on the plane, and like apparently my parents told me I don't know the story. My parents told me my head like swole up as we got to Nigeria, right? So it was so bad that they had to turn the plane as it was back on the runway and fly it back to America.
It was that bad.
It was that bad.
For you?
Yep.
So your
I was
head
3 years old.
It just swelled up.
Started swelling up. They said we got to turn the plane around. They were like, oh, but what about all the passengers? Turn the plane around. So yeah, that happened. So apparently, from my perspective, I'm allergic to my home country, but it's okay. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. See better days.
I feel that. Talk about kind of what happened or what kind of the influence your parents kind of said on you when you kind of told them you wanted to pursue,
They told me go to my room. Straight up, for years, man. They was just like, all right, go back to sleep. All right. They were like, you're going to be a doctor. I'm like, well, what about content? I like making video. Can I make this one animation? Go back to your room. So it was a consistent beating, and neglect of what it is I wanted to do. But it wasn't until, and one thing I'm realizing is African parents specifically, just parents in general, they don't want to hear it until they can see the results. I guess that's the thing, because you're just like as a kid, you're sort of a human investment. Let's go into, all right, cool, I'm growing up now. Let's talk about sperm. You're a sperm that has gone into you've been developed, and I know this is very direct, but you're an investment. Your dad invested in that to go ahead and create you. You better make something out of yourself, because at a point in time, I'm gonna get to an age where I can't do all the things I used to do. I need to have that investment to take care of, the family. So I think that's where it comes from in terms of just like parenting, the strict parenting. They definitely were strict on that until like Vine happened, and then they were able to see like it's possible to gain an influence. You're at least I think it wasn't until like I would like have people like starting to come up and like try to take pictures in public while my parents were there, that they started to see that I could possibly do it. Like if I didn't do Vine, I probably would have never been able to like change my major to film. I would have had to do computer engineering. I would have died. What? Computer engineering? What? I couldn't imagine it, but so that's basically what it is in that respect.
for people that don't know, how does kind of the monetization work as far as like the influencers and stuff like that?
Okay, that's a good. It's different in terms of what platform you're on. So like with Vine, this is why Vine died. With Vine, usually nobody would pay you through the app. You'd have to have underground people hit you up and say, oh, we could, we like your content, we could promote through third parties, and then they would, pay you accordingly. And that's the one thing Vine didn't do right. So YouTube, I just don't do too much YouTube, but YouTube is probably the most profitable out there now. What YouTube does is like, if you hit a specific watch time, which isn't necessarily all that hard, they put you in a program and you start getting paid accordingly by how your views and stuff are doing. But yeah, it's pretty much like that. And the stress, and I guess I can say this, like the problem with Vine was they just weren't paying their creators. The top percent, the people that I told you I watched, like in the West Coast, they started realizing after about like 1,000th Vine, I should probably be paid to do this. I'm treating it like it's a 9 to 5, and we're not getting paid. So the nudges, from my understanding, the nudges and the talking to other creator friends were like, we should be paid. It got around, and then what happened was like they called a meeting. This is from what I know. They called a meeting at the Vine headquarters, about 20 creators, and then they sat down with a contract to the executives. They were like, "Yo, give us $1.2 million each, or we're leaving the app." Yeah, man, that's big boy moves. But these people they have the followers, they have the
control.
Yeah. And then Vine was like, "You guys completely out of your minds. Leave. You're the only 1% of the app." But they were the most powerful 1% of that app. So like, and then I think they I'll just use the word. Correct me if I'm using it wrong. They conspired to all leave Vine to go to Instagram for 6 months and see what happens. And then in those 6 months, Vine declined. They just didn't post on Vine at all. And then what happened was, well, the people at Vine realized it, and they were like, all right, we gotta let these people off because we're not getting them back. I'm not giving you that money. So that's what happened. I think that's where the fail of Vine came in. Like, the moral of the story is pay your creators. They work hard, man. So that's what happened. From my understanding, do not fact check me. Research stuff. But yeah.
Is there any partners you have now or sponsorships that you plan to hope for in the next coming up year?
I had done like over the years, like through Vine, I did things with like recording artists and stuff, just to like promote their music and stuff. Sponsorships with I don't think I have anything with no big companies yet. I would hope to. If there were any ones that I would probably want to have, not that I know of. If it's anything within clothing, I would like that because it's like, you would end up getting free clothing if you're doing a sponsorship with them. Oh, no. I've done electronics, like headphones. I'm working with this company called MPOW, and I'm doing this because I did a sponsorship thing with them that I never posted the thing. This is the ad. I'm doing this because it's exposure. I'm sorry. So yeah, I would like to branch out more, specifically into clothing, because I feel like that's something it's a subject of interest for me right now. I would like to go into that, but yeah.
Speaking of clothing,
Yeah, bro.
if I may, I'm currently wearing a piece of our merch. This is Vaugiotto Echelon merch right here, baby. This is unveiled right here. This is it right here. You see this? Fire. Look at that.
Go ahead, man.
Yup, that's it. I got number 2, piece number 2 right here.
I didn't even peep.
First piece right here.
Hook your boy up. Hook your boy up. This is God's plan.
That's it. This is the first piece we started right here.
All right, cool. Hook me up with some clothing, y'all.
Now, if we may, we got another one as well. All right.
Go.
There we go.
With the back,
That's crazy.
Yup.
Y'all are
Move to
walking
the center a
brand
little
new.
bit. Move to the center. Yeah, move to the center. Let him get a good look.
Hey,
Yup, look at that.
come on, man.
Look at that. That's good stuff right there. Now, show him the front real quick, just in case. Just stunt that real quick.
You dig?
Vaugiotto Echelon.
I got it.
This merch will be available soon. Just stay tuned. We got more coming. I promise you, we got a lot more coming, and we are open to collaborations.
That sounded like a no, but I hope that wasn't. Yeah. It sounded like. Yeah.
We talk out there.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm totally down.
We'll say that for off camera.
What's 2020 have for you? What are you planning?
Man, what I want to do, I just want to outdo what I've done the prior years before. I think, there's a saying where you just get better with age. We're in the age now where, how old everybody here?
21.
21? Yeah, I hear it goes all downhill from here. I've specifically heard from people, it goes downhill from 21. Your face gonna start falling, you're gonna go under lights like this, and you're gonna start seeing bags and stuff. I just wanna, even though all that's gonna happen inevitably, unless you get the Neutrogena, it's a long story, but I want to just push limits, because we only have one life, man. And in terms of 2020, I just want to make this a year where I can look back on it and say I spent it the way I did. So I know it's going to take a lot of, in terms of this year alone, just a lot of me putting myself in uncomfortable situations where I can only progress from the end. It's going to suck in the moment, but it's going to have a long-term impact, and I'm going to remember it and just be glad that I did it.
Where's your favorite place to film your videos at?
Well,
The location.
favorite location? I currently don't necessarily have one. If we were talking back into the Vine days, it would have to be the school, obviously. Because for those that watched that school, it's just it's a trademark of that entire series of time. Yeah, man.
Now, for those who don't know, I'm not from the DMV. What school are you referring to?
That's crazy. A lot of people ask this question. A lot of people have tried to geotag it and stuff.
Did they advertise it for it?
Huh?
Did you advertise it for it or not?
I don't know.
What you thinking?
I went back
Well,
there.
okay, let me ask you this then. What was so special about it?
What was special about
Yes.
it? What I thought was special about that school was it was unique. It gave me at least we had a principal there that was very strict. A lot of people didn't necessarily like him, but one thing that I liked about it though, I had recently gone back and I like filmed a documentary and I got to speak on him we'll speak with him one-on-one.
Oh.
He understands that people don't like him, but not a lot of people are gonna like you, especially if they're trying to if they want the best for you. That's just how it is. You're not gonna like them until it's all said and done. Let me see. Let's see.
12 came.
Who?
When 12 came, had to shut the school down.
What?
They broke the glass and all that.
Oh, all right.
For y'all that don't know, by the
That's
way,
talkable, that's talkable.
may I just say that for the record, these two did go to high school together.
Yeah, he's
Just in case y'all didn't know.
He is in
Pause.
this video. He's the one that was by the side and he was just down with it, and he did the last move.
That's why your shoe game weak.
Go ahead, follow your boy.
Shit.
Yeah, what is you got to plug, man? I pointed at you. You got to plug yourself now. Just here.
This is about you, bro. We doing you. This is your interview.
No, it's too late. I gave it. But no. I mean, we gotta talk about 12 now. You brought it up. Yeah, I think that's another thing I liked about this. I didn't like the violence. I mean, that was inevitable. I think it's gonna happen. But it happened at it happened at a scale it shouldn't have happened. I heard 23 fights exactly happened that same day, and
Same day?
Yep, 12 came. They broke glass. People threw people into glass awnings, and that's a bad look.
23 in one day?
23 in one day. I
That's
think the principal
crazy.
said it himself. He was like, never in my life. It was just bad.
That's
You
funny.
better catch a case out here.
I get
Now,
no case. I can
was
speak
this
about it. I
your
didn't say the school
grade?
name.
Was this your grade? Who did this involve?
I think it was every grade.
Nobody, bro. Come on.
I'm not going to identify.
You can just say the
Damn,
grade. I
unless
mean, I
the
just want to
teacher-
know if these were older kids or younger kids.
I think it was every grade in that school.
That's great.
Somebody woke up that morning and said, I feel like fighting and folding everybody in my direction when I step through
That's
the
fine.
classroom. And he did it. He executed on his goal. And because of that, 23 fights happened that day.
So one guy started this. Is that what you're saying?
That
So
sounds
you
really
can't-
bad.
yeah.
That sounds
We can't
sorry.
speak on that, bro. Let
Okay,
it-
I can't speak on
Let's
that.
transfer something.
All right, so let me transfer real quick. So, so something you said at the beginning, way at the beginning. You were saying you brought up the topic of sus moments.
Yeah.
Now, you did go to high school with him. So let me ask you something. Everybody has a sus moment. What was his sus moment?
I think
Bro, come on, man.
Come on, y'all, I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this.
I don't know.
For the
That's-
people. For the people. Let them.
Bro, I was to myself. I ain't doing that.
he was to himself, but he was a clown, bro. I guess since we're not mentioning any names, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. We used to have art class, and we were at a specific table, and like there was a specific person at the table, and you would always like jam the table forward so her face would fall forward. And I was like, all right, that's messed up. Can I say it? Okay, bro.
Tell me in my ear. What you talking about?
What? Yo,
Bro, what the?
High school, man.
Every 5 minutes,
devious man
it's
right
just a table shift. He's just chilling, and this is exactly how he would do it.
Uh-huh.
And she's just sleeping, bro. I'm like, what are you doing?
While she was asleep, too?
Oh, you talking about Shorty?
Wow.
Yeah.
You talking about Shorty?
I was just like,
Wow.
that's crazy, bro.
That's crazy.
But nah, is it necessarily a sus moment? I wouldn't say that. It's just it's a moment where, you know, I
That's
don't
funny.
know what you're doing.
That's
But
just
it
funny.
would
That's
happen
funny.
like every 5 minutes. You got a teacher that's really pouring her heart out, trying to
Yeah.
give the curriculum.
Yeah.
And shift every 5 minutes, shift. And you never got like, you know, I don't think she ever really spoke up. No, she was like, I'll plead the fifth, let me not say it.
Yeah, relax, Shorty.
Yeah.
Relax.
Got you.
We do not
Got you.
self-incriminate. We do not self-incriminate here. Nope.
But
Nope.
nah, do you think Theodore would sue me?
For what?
I don't know, just talking. I don't know. I
mean,
mean, we're over here
Is
putting.
Theodore as big as you? Is he on the show? He's not.
It's not even
So
his
clearly-
name, but you know, he knows what I'm talking about.
Even better.
Bowling.
Yeah, you could definitely.
For what?
I mean, just if I were to talk about the dynamic between you two, I thought that was really cool. He like it was his best friend. It wasn't sus. Nah, you know what? I plead the fifth on all of this. Let's go to the next question.
Everything's all.
Y'all can do your own research from here.
I
You
was a
know.
homie, bro. What? I ain't seen homie in a minute, bro.
I know,
Okay.
it's been a long time. But nah, what was I saying? Oh, you said favorite perk about being like just who I am.
Yourself.
One thing that I definitely realized, and it's one thing I didn't realize until I like lost what I had at the time. Like, when Vine died, a big thing that I had to do was that people had to do was redirect. Not everybody's just gonna go ahead and follow you straight up unless you had a real influence on them. Because I was going through stuff at the time. I was a little bit depressed, so I didn't really care. It was all happening too quick. I didn't tell people to follow me on my Instagram until people started leaving. Yeah. It wasn't until months later when the app lost its population that I told people, and then by the time I told people, everybody was gone. I had about 300,000 followers on Vine at the time, and I only brought over 20,000 on Instagram because of how late I was. But the favorite perk, now that I've realized it and I've been able to see it from what I've lost at the time, and I don't take this for granted at all, is the eyes that I have that are on me currently. Just because these are your supporters. I definitely don't take that for granted, and I always try to give back to them, whether it's just through simple story posts, just going live and stuff like that, because it goes a long way. And these are the people, I believe your supporters are the framework of what is going to get you to where you need to be. If you don't have your supporters, you just won't have any type of success from the most part. So I think that's my favorite perk, that I have that that base. I'm close with some of them. I've been able to conversate with them and stuff like that. And what else? Just for the people that take this social media stuff crazy serious, you get some special perks. If there's a party, you can get into that for free because you're who you say you are or whatever. It's stupid, but I'm not gonna complain. I got it for free. That maybe you might get free clothes or something. But it's not sponsorships. Well, it has to be if they tell you to wear it. But stuff like that,
So to the fans who may not have access to you like we do, what advice or kind of guidance would you give them if they kind of be in your position right now?
I would tell them to just stay yourself. I think especially nowadays, especially since TikTok dropped, everybody now is just trying to go in this for just fame. You could be famous in anything you choose to do, just be good at it. So it's if you don't feel like you're good as a content creator, don't necessarily create content unless you want to challenge yourself and see if you're good at it. And if you do create content, I would say just be authentic, because authenticity is what sells if you're that worried about numbers and stuff, but eventually it's going to crumble. Just be open to constructive criticism, because especially if you're going into the content creator field, you're going to have people that aren't going to think you're funny, and that's okay. But if you have 90% of your comments saying you're not funny, maybe go back into the lab and see why it wasn't funny, and try and see how you get a joke in there or two. That, and just be consistent. It's a thing I've learned from losing consistency, stuff like that. There's nothing you can't do in this world that if you do it a lot of times, you're just not going to get better. It's impossible. I think we're adaptive human beings, and you will adapt. If you go this route, continue, rep your set every other day, you will get great. And you probably will surpass me or any of my friends that you've seen me with, So yeah, there's that.
So you mentioned friends, your favorite celebrity or person to partner with
Okay. My favorite, I just came back from a movie premiere with my boy King Vader. I've been with this guy. I've known him since the Vine days, back when we were pushing 1,000 followers. Simply because, he's a friend that I know that continues just to push the bar around, whether it's through me or through my friend group. They go by Wolf Graphics, shout out to them. They definitely make me want to be better, because they're always doing they keep each other close, tight-knit, and they use what they have to make things great. And I look at that no matter what scale I'm at, because I'm over here in school in New York while they're all in Maryland and LA doing their thing. It drives me. So every time they got something going on, I always gotta come out and see them, because it's it's dope vibes and it's good. You gotta always be around people that push you to do better, because if you do that, you'll be better. You can always, they say you can't always be the smartest person in the room, obviously, because you're just not gonna get any better at that. You're actually gonna dumb down somewhat because you're not challenging yourself to be greater. So I definitely appreciate my friend group. Favorite, yeah. So I guess I would say King Vader. What video would it be? We did this one video about kidnapping the president. It was a video we did. It's on his channel actually. It's a favorite because it's the idea, just from the laugh that's from there. The idea is just odd, but it's something we've done. But if it has to be one that I did with him in it, It's this video where like when you say corny things in a relationship and it backfires at you, like so it's like me and like with the person that's portrayed as my girlfriend in the video, and we're like handcuffed and we're frolicking through the fields, and then we get pulled over at gunpoint, and then it's a comedy, but it's very so it was back and forth the way it was acted out. It was dope. That's my favorite video with him. So
You can check the camera right quick, dude. Make sure it's out.
All right, hold on. Let me shoot off a couple because I do got a couple of them.
Hold on, we got me to this one.
I know.
Solid.
Yeah, it's good.
Looking good. Looking fresh, clean. Your chair's in frame, right?
Yeah.
All right. Good. 3, 2,
We still rolling.
1. Just want to make it proper. All right. 3, 2, 1. So. Yeah, shut your mouth. Okay. So, do you ever find yourself comparing your success to other people's?
at a point in time I did, and that's why I failed. Yeah. And that was outside of Vine. At a point in time, I had gotten around a circle that was at least, good enough to the point where I was like, why am I not, I'm putting more effort in what I'm doing compared to a specific other person. Why am I not getting the better end,
Yeah.
And I just, I was a dumb, the one thing I always say, and it remains true to me till this day, I was a very dumb kid back in high school. I didn't know about this stuff. I never watched anything. Immediately, I was thinking, all right, I'm going in terms of entertainment. At least if I know anything, one thing I've heard is if you go out to do something, you have to set out to be the best. But the way I thought of it was, I have to eliminate everybody else in my field in order to get there. So, and it became my demise in that sense. So yeah, I would always, at that point in time, before I stopped, this is a fun fact for everybody watching, outside of high school, I would definitely compare myself to other, the people I would be around, a lot of the people I would do shows with, and it would be what made me not do as good as I actually am. So yeah, and it wasn't until I went through a stage of depression at one point, because it's but I think what depression is, at least for me, what it was, and the answer to it was me looking within myself and figuring out what's wrong with me. Because at that time, it's hard to process all this stuff, man. You're over here in high school. There's literally nobody that can tell you no at this point because you've built all this stuff. You got your, the students and stuff cheering you on and crap. The teacher that you're in class with is cheering you on. The principal now found out, the strict principal that doesn't allow phones and stuff in the hallways has now allowed it. What can't I do? And you start to believe the narrative that people portray on you, which is, yo, you're doing great, this, that, and the other. So I had esteemed myself at a point where I was comparing myself to people, wasn't helping me out. And then I learned that you just can't compare. I learned that everybody on this planet has a talent. Everybody can do it at a genius level stage, and you can only do it by focusing on yourself. Any moment that you focus on what somebody else is doing is taking away from moments that you can do what you're doing. We all got something, man. So, yeah.
So you said that oftentimes you kind of almost were depressed. So when do you know when social media is too much? When do you know when to turn off? It's just
when social media is too much, I can give you specific examples. When you're looking at a specific number that your stuff is doing, and you keep on refreshing, and you're trying to see how much higher it can go before the end of the night, before you go to sleep. When you keep on looking to see what your follower count is and how much it could have been the next day. Because here's what's happening. The more you do that, the more obsessed you get towards doing that. The more obsessed you get towards doing that, the less time you're thinking about the next video. And then you start to slow down your process. But in the moment, you don't understand what's going on. Because now you've lost sight of reality, how this really works. You have to just continue to put stuff out. Once the numbers and stuff, and I think that's just a message social media needs to hear. Everybody's in it for the numbers, the money, all that other stuff. When you have genuine fun, you will be surprised how fast you have moved when you look back. Same way when they say time flies when you're having fun. Who knew time would move that fast? Wow, the sun's down already? Because I was having genuine fun. If you're not having fun, or if you're looking at it tactically, looking, at things, it goes so much slower. Dang, why can't the 1 minute hand just go all the way around already? Because you're pinpricking. So, yeah. I don't even know if I answered the question, but I believe it.
What would you say is the process like of making a video in terms step by step what you do?
Step by step, or at least how I would do it. At the barest essence, if I hear something I like a song, I would try to really vouch for it and put that into a video because I just get a satisfaction out of that. But it's not the best way to create. The best way to create, I think, if you got to be relatable. at the barest essence somehow, or just be funny. Something that you think is funny, someone else is bound to find it funny. So yeah, there's that, and you just gotta be different. I feel like nowadays specifically, I feel like every idea, this might be wrong, but this is how I feel sometimes. I feel like every idea on the planet has been used. You just have to find a different approach. And put a unique spin on it, and make everybody's crucifying each other back and forth like, you stole my idea. Make sure y'all go ahead, get your friends, tag them in this. Go ahead, tell them to tag me because they stole my idea. All right, I mean, we could find. I mean, and I've seen some of this on TikTok, the new app. Bet you can find a Vine that was the same TikTok that was on YouTube, but was on whatever there was before YouTube at the time. Google Video, I don't know, but like, yeah. So, yeah.
So you mentioned people trying to like almost kind of steal people's content. Does that make you kind of fearful or censor your content or kind of think twice?
In the beginning, it made me think I need to make it as unique as possible so it just can't be remade. But then again, I thought it's gonna happen inevitably. I think if you do it as authentically as you can, and you definitely have like a comedic talent, yours is gonna stand out. I feel like you can replicate an idea, you can't replicate the charisma of the character in that video. So just be authentic. I'm really big on being authentic because I know that idea is gonna get stolen one day, possibly, maybe remade. Who knows? Yeah. Some people give credit, some people don't. A lot of my friends definitely put a lot of like stress on that. I don't anymore because it's a moment in time. That's another one of those variables that can slow down your process. Now you're worried about somebody that did a video. I mean, at the end of the day, they're still gonna keep creating. Keep worrying about what you know you're in control of, which is how much you can put out. You're not in control of all these variables. So that's how I look at it now. But I wasn't this, I'm gonna give a plug. I was not this wise until I became depressed. And I was able to, it was like, I was in a position of time where like, I was forced to not do anything. I didn't make content for like a year and a half. I was forced to just, it was like creative sleep paralysis. I was forced to watch everybody around me do their thing, and I learned specific patterns and other stuff that happened. And then, you know, a lot of humility came from that, and I know where I stand now, and it's just, I feel alive. That's what it is. And so, you know, yeah.
That's funny because you tweeted,
Oh, you took my tweet? Oh, that man. Oh, hey, yo. No, y'all really. That's wild.
Nah, it says, I went through years of mental conditioning. There's no pit stop, no downfall, no nothing.
Oh, that's really recent.
Yeah, I'm straight for everything. So they're talking about kind of how that kind of changed your ideology.
Can you read that joint again? I just want to make sure this is actually happening. So, that man, what?
It says, I went through years of mental conditioning. There's no pit stop, no downfall, no nothing. I'm straight for everything, all caps.
Dang. Y'all the feds, for real.
No, I mean, you gotta get an NDA.
No, it's straight up. It's literally just like that. So basically, see, now it's coming full circle. Now you know I'm really talking about what actually happened. Because, like, you know, the mental conditioning is me seeing what I thought I could do in the beginning, where I was flawed, me figuring out my flaws, and what I can do now. All the pit stops that was taken just to figure out what went wrong, I know how to avoid them now. So I'm going to go in the direction that I think might be the correct direction, and I have to sacrifice everything that is, you know, the new things that are, the new challenges that are gonna, you know, come across, and go straight for what I know is right, which is what I think, like I said, is right. But the way it is, you know, if I'm proven wrong, that's fine. You fail at things in life, but you get back up, you fall forward. So that's pretty much what it is. And when I say I'm coming for everything, it's just, yeah, I pictured myself at a specific point at a specific time in my life, and I didn't necessarily get it, but I feel like everything happens for a reason. So it's like, if I get it, if I'm on this track and I'm really about myself and making things happen and just not doing anybody wrong as it happens, I'm going for it, man. Only way is up. So yeah, it's about putting the things you've learned, the lessons you've learned into play. That's basically what that tweet is.
So how do you think kind of your rise and kind of fame in the social media world affect your dating life or kind of relationships with other people?
My dating life?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get in on that. Nah, it's very impressive. I got
a nice team around me, bro.
Respect. I would say just, it didn't necessarily affect my dating life at all, because I really like, the only time I dated was when I knew the people, like straight up. So like high school. The person that I went to prom with, I dated at a point in time. My parents don't even know this, so when I see, you know, I'm just gonna be, I'm getting at that age, I can just talk about it. I'm sorry, this is what happened. I'm gonna get my lashes when I get home, I know it. Yeah, I mean, inevitably you're gonna talk to people. You're gonna come across people that you think, you know, are either they charm you in some sense, so you're gonna go in that direction. So I've definitely come across that. I've spoken to people. I've had that interaction. Have I met up with anybody before off of like the people I've met with my like if it's like a meetup maybe, not necessarily. Outside of using influence, if it's just real life regular stuff, I've had Tinder before. Tinder, it's like a dating app. See, now back in the day, it used to be like the weirdest kid on the planet if you did online dating, but it's actually extremely common now.
You ever get recognized? Or no?
Yeah, I got it. It sucked.
What can I say? This undisclosed location.
Security.
What can I say, man? Anytime somebody's on the premises, we know.
But no, I was recognized once. A few times actually. And then one of my friends actually catfished me on Tinder. Yeah, dang. That was God telling me to just get off the app. I feel like Tinder, I think it's toxic because I feel like you're not doing what you should do. You're missing out on a vital communication skill if you're using Tinder. You're not gonna be able to speak to. You can nowadays just swipe, and you now have a date for tonight. That makes no sense. I mean, it makes sense, but it's like you're skipping things you need to do. Now you have to break the ice and right then and there instead of finding somebody and doing it the old-fashioned way. But nah, I guess I've just never really been on like a date before. Man,
So you don't slide in DMs?
Crazy.
Huh?
You slide in DMs?
I mean, I'm a dude, man. Come on. Yeah, I have before. Am I proud of it? Nah. Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, let's go ahead and break it down. You all slid in DMs before. This is a fact. I know you
Everybody
have.
has to shoot their shot once in a while.
Everybody will slid their shot. You say you haven't in years? I don't believe you.
For sure. I like natural. I like to meet females in person.
That's crazy.
It's my energy.
All right, so you literally slide in front of him and tell him, "Excuse me."
I ain't doing that, but I mean, it's just like, you know, if it's an energy and it's, you know, both sides are consensual, you don't do no weirdo shit, but I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, you know, and I feel like that's something that Tinder doesn't allow you to do. I feel like we're just we like what's easy. That's a very easy way to go ahead and meet new people. You miss a lot of stuff. You run into people that you should probably stay away from. You're gonna meet toxic people on the app. So that's my thing. I've definitely used it before. I will never say that I've never used the app before because that's just not human. That's when I'm trying to dish away from things. Yeah, I've used it before. I've met good friends off of it. Yeah, so there's that. Yes.
So music taste, what is Metroo bumping in his headphones?
Honestly, man, the music I listen to anything. Usually I'm looking for songs that I could use through for videos and stuff.
You got a Mary J. Blige track for the last video you did.
Yep. That's
What about Mary J. Blige?
I don't know nothing really about her. I do know there are specific moments in your life that I think you can associate with a song. When I was growing up, I didn't really know anything about music, but I always give my sister the credit because she would always have the boombox back in the day, it was going hard. She would have that song, and I remember I used to always sing it in the back of my head. I was like, oh, whatever happened to that one song? And then I heard it recently this year, and I was like, yo, let me see if I can do something relatable with this. And then, ended up doing, that singer that tries to out-sing the rest of the group. There's that singer out there. There are artists people can name, very popular artists that people can name that, were that person. So I was like, I just decided on a whim just to go ahead and invest in some wigs and borrow my mom's jewelry and stuff and see if I could just go ahead and do this, see what happens with it. You gotta be willing to put your stuff out the atmosphere. That's another thing with social media. You just see how it's perceived. If people hate it, delete it. Or not. It depends. If it says you, then yeah, keep it up. But you might be crucified. Yeah. So with that video, it was just I'm glad I made it. Because it was something that was I bumped the idea in my head and I was like, nah, this is cool. And I'm glad the audience thinks so too.
So like you said, you kind of put the wigs on. You kind of see that a lot with different, especially black men portrayed in media. So you had Martin with Shanae, you had Tyler Perry with Aaliyah. Do you think that, I just want to hear your perspective, do you think that black men are forced to kind of do that role to get in the industry, or do you think that's kind of a choice? How you feel about that?
I think it's a choice. Okay, this is a good thing to talk about. I feel like a creative mind, you cannot put a cap on a creative mind. You never know what's going on in somebody's head. I had watched an interview with Martin. He was just like, "Yo, those characters were funny." I don't even think he was asking about like backlash that would come from that. He just thought they were funny. It's another thing that I think that comes from a male, just like probably making the choice to go ahead and play a female role, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that, is because maybe they think they could play that role better in terms of whatever comedic beats or something that they wanted to hit better than the person that they would have to find to act it. Or maybe in the interest of time, you know? I feel like if we took my video, for example, with the Mary J. Blige thing, it's like, you know, I just feel like I have a specific type of way that I execute mannerisms that I don't, am I supposed to hold an audition now? Like, it's an Instagram video, you know? So I just, yeah, you know, I don't think you can put a cap on that stuff. I think Martin did those roles because he thought they were funny, and he thought he could put a twist on it that he hasn't seen in an actor yet. I think Tyler Perry does Medea because he probably thought it was a funny way to portray what he's seen in the African-American woman type figure. What is Medea, like a grandmother or a
Various.
yeah, you know? So it's like, yeah, I feel like sometimes it's hard to put a finger on the things you're trying to do sometimes unless you do it yourself. And I feel like that's what they did, simply, you know? That's how I look at it. Yeah.
So with Medea and kind of Martin, they kind of big blockbuster film kind of actors and stuff like that. Do you see some getting into movies, TV shows, sitcoms, please?
Most definitely. And one thing I just want to say is that I want to do it through social media. I go to school at a school where everybody's just trying to do internships and stuff like that. Oh, this is good. Y'all keep doing this, man. This
Yeah, that's what I tell you, boy.
It
My
is.
fault, bruh.
Yes, sir.
My fault, bruh. My
Yes,
fault.
sir. You good?
You feel me? That's what we do.
Yeah, no, for sure though. I lost my train of thought. What's the question? Wow, that's crazy.
I think the question was, we were talking about actors and stuff like that. You want to get into the music space or the TV space?
Yeah, like I go to NYU, right? And a lot of the people there, I just don't like I don't like the path everybody else chooses naturally, because it just gives me questions like, what happens if I choose the other path? It's scary, but who knows what could happen, you know? Everybody wants to do internships and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that, and this is respect to everybody out there that has an internship, especially in this industry. Yeah, you could meet some people, I'm sure. Yeah, you could learn some new skills, but I feel like everybody has something they want to do. Maybe, it also has to do with getting jobs and stuff. You can get a job, there's nothing wrong with that, but don't stay there if it's not what you want to do. Let it fund the dream that you have for yourself. Yeah, with just the internship thing, it's a lot of people think they're gonna get into the front. Okay, let me give an example. I know people that will work behind camera with goals to one day be in front of the camera. If we're being realistic, how are we going to be able to test any of your skills? It's, for example, the Shanae type actor that think that, through Martin is working as an intern behind the camera, but wants to go ahead and show what she can do as an actress. Well, I mean, if you never show it, you're behind the camera. The only thing you have to do is pan, tilt. You're not doing anything as, the character you are. So I feel like the narrative of I'm gonna get to that front position where I'm the main thing, it's possible, but it's hard to do. And a lot of times in internships, it doesn't necessarily happen. So I feel like we live in the best day and age to create the opportunity for yourself. Social media, there's such an advantage with that, man. Back in the day, our parents didn't have the power that we have in our pockets right now. You can start a whole business from your phone,
Right.
Mm-hmm. You can make it anywhere. Like back in the day, you used to have to make it, you have to come to New York to make it. You can make it in Kansas. You can make it and I'm just giving a random state because you know how things get taken into a different, it's Kansas. I don't know. It's in the center. I thought about it. Yeah, that's how I look at it. I want to see if the social media route can do it. There are people that have paved the way before. You got people like King Batch. The man has made, he's in Netflix movies now. He's been in the most popular Netflix movie to touch the site. I don't remember. To all the boys I've loved before, if I mess this up, that's the name of the film. So if I mess this up, then yeah, that's the name of the film. If I'm correct, don't fact check me. I might have messed up the title a little bit, but yeah, I want to use the uncommon route. Everybody's telling like I've had people sit down with me and tell me, "Yo, do the internship, bro. You don't know what you're doing." But at the end of the day, and this is where I've learned humility. I'm not gonna tell them what I have going for me. I'm not gonna tell them who I know. I'm not gonna tell them what's going. I'm gonna tell, but I say, I respect that. I'm going to try something else. You have to be willing to risk, man. It's gonna suck, you know. Now we see seniors and stuff. You know, student loans. That ticking time bomb's gonna start. 6 months, yeah. I'm willing to. I mean, this is a big. I'm willing to at least see how bad collections is for a little bit if I risk this and I don't make anything out of it. Because it's like you got one life, man. You gonna die inevitably. They talking about making a mechanical heartbeat. Yeah, that's Satan. What? I'm not trying to what. So yeah, I think I definitely want to use social media to my advantage. Create an audience. At least have those eyes, because once you have the eyes, especially at a specific amount, the opportunities start to come. Business likes where eyes are at. They will pay you to go ahead and do your thing. A lot of businesses don't know how to master social media, so they'll pay creators to go ahead and advertise the things that they don't know how. Like, you have to be smart about it. A lot of people don't take this way. But even though everybody's on social media, only 1% of them become that successful. So I want to try it. I mean, can I not say I want to try it? Do I have to rid myself of that, possibility? So that's just how I look at it.
You say you went to NYU, so going back, if you could look at your life, going back 10 years ago, what advice would you give yourself now? Kind of would you still do the same thing to get to this point?
I would say, that's a good question. Yeah, I would say watch movies. I don't watch any movies, and I don't know how to, I guess I'm good at, raising the stakes in a visual project. But I'm learning in terms of script format. I'm currently workshopping a script right now. Maybe sometimes I'm not necessarily the greatest, but I have my flaws. So I guess that's how I got in. But I would give myself the advice to watch more movies, because they reference it so much in film school, and I'm just sitting around looking all stupid because I don't know what they're talking about. It's like Scorsese, who? So yeah, that's advice I would give myself. And yeah, as a kid, I would always just go after what I wanted, That's why I was made fun of. That's why I used that's the essence of the name Metroo, right? That's where it came from. It has nothing to do with what the name meant. It has everything to do with what the name tried to do. Mm-hmm. It tried to put a cap on a person who's just, okay. Yeah, I don't even know how to, I went blank. But if you got something, I heard all right, cool. So there's that. Yes.
You got it?
Yeah, no, I don't got it. Let's get to the next question.
That's it, bro. Stumbling you like that.
I don't know what to do, bro.
Okay. You got another question?
Yeah, let me ask you something. So who is your biggest influence right now at the moment? Who are you looking up to?
People I look up to, I definitely look up to Kevin Hart, because he's one of those people. I think a big thing about success and just being remembered is the fact that people don't expect what you're about to do next. I've tried to figure this guy out, but he's been able to prove me wrong a lot of times. For example, here's one thing that I can say. In his most recent comedy special, I was yo, his energy seemed a little low in the beginning, irresponsible. But I had no idea how much he was doing at the same time. I had no idea he was filming a documentary at the same time he was going up on that stage. That was for Netflix as well. That's that man, and I saw it in the documentary. I like surprises like that. So that specific essence, I like to do things that people don't expect, because it's a cool feeling. That oh my god feeling, instead of the feeling of just saying what you want to do. I guess we can bring it back to my tweets. I tweet with a vengeance, but I don't say exactly what I'm gonna do. Nobody can ever predict the type of content I'm gonna drop next. I bet a lot of people didn't think I was gonna come in with wigs, and I haven't done that in years. But the unexpectability from that. I like Kevin Hart. I like people like King Batch, because that man's just consistent as hell. It's on a different level. You know how many vines that man made? He became the king of Vine, and then on Instagram he still posts every day. How much that I don't know, but you gotta respect it. What I like about him is he's given his life to just put out content. You could have every day of the week. If you could just put out a 365-day calendar and just have a red mark for every day he's posted a video, you'd be surprised by how much red you're gonna see. That guy's consistent, and you need consistency to make it. So it makes so much sense why he has a lot of these opportunities he does, as opposed to his other friends. But they all eat. Very supportive group. That group within that he hangs around too. Within my group, my Team Wolf Graphic. They definitely, that's a little friend group, you know. They're people that push me to do better. My boys Astro, Taz, King Vader, Shamari from high school, Showtime. Yeah.
You gotta have him on the platform. We gotta have him up.
Yes, sir. All of them. I'm missing names, but I know I'm gonna regret it. Hart, Stop, Lucas, all of them. People I hang around. The people you gotta hang around gotta be the people that, at least at the base, inspire you. So yeah, there's those people. If I could think of one more, like on a bigger scale, I don't know. Yeah, I give up. So let's.
So you said Kevin Hart is one of your biggest inspirations. So kind of seeing how the situation happened with the Oscars and that controversy, how would God willing, when you're hosting the Oscars, how would Metroo handle that situation?
How would I handle it? I feel like if I didn't see, I feel like it's God's way of showing that you needed to see it because I saw how he handled it. Because I don't know how I would have handled it. Like let's say, if from Vine, I immediately skyrocketed up to that point, considering my age and I don't know necessarily a lot of the stuff I talk about at that age, how would I handle it? Probably horribly. I would lose it and any other job at the Oscars. But the way he handled it, I think he handled it kind of appropriately because it comes from a real message. He stopped it because even though he, called out, he said things that he said 10 years ago, it's the essence of it. He said something 10 years ago. What he's getting at is, that happened 10 years ago. Do people not change over time? I mean, it sounds cliche, but that actually happens. People go through different things, people learn different things. I'm not the same person I was back in 2014, 2015. I went through a series of time where everything declined and I just didn't know who I was anymore to refine myself and figure out what was right from wrong. So, if we had to look at it that deep, because I feel like society wants us all to look at stuff that deep, but the people who tell us to look that deep don't look that deep within themselves. So that's just him saying, I'm on a platform, and even though I was wrong for that, I mean, it's very interesting how it was pulled up at the time of a success, a key success that this guy has had at the framework of his own career. Like, if you're talking about like things, if we had a goal list for things that a specific person wants to do before they die, I'm pretty sure that's on his list. And for it to be taken from, it's different to have done something a week before, to have done something recently, and he says it, and I study this stuff. When I study entertainers, like, somebody it's hard to find something from 10 years, bro. You gotta put things in quotes. You have to put a combination of different words in quotes and find somebody's name and search for that. I mean, it happened purposefully, and somebody, I've realized people are just like very spiteful, and I've realized that. So, I don't know if I would have handled it the same way, because I wouldn't have known all this if I didn't see a situation like that unfold.
Do you ever think that'll come from you, or do you ever think that'll be a situation that you would be in?
I feel like the way I see how the world works, I think inevitably everybody, the way the world is, like how it's working, everybody is gonna have that moment if we keep going in this direction. It's just gonna happen. Like, does this mean people can no longer chase success because they messed up at some point in time in their life? I mean, the past is the past. What you've done is what's been done. There's no erasing that. If people could erase what they've done before, they would. But it's not, you can't. So you're gonna hang that over them and dangle it over them as if that's the same person they were. You have to fail in order to succeed. That's the only way you'll know what you did wrong, so you can get to a point where you succeed and you never look back. I think that's one thing people just don't understand, and it needs to be brought upon. In that particular case, it was just somebody that thought, or I don't know, that's just what it was. And he basically says the same thing back to us when he said, I'll decline the Oscars, because it's like, we give trolls a platform and we let them win. Now, even though he said he wasn't going to apologize, but he apologized to every national television show in America a week after, because he probably got to a point where he had to, because I guess this is how the society is. I don't know, man. It's interesting. But yeah, with that question, who knows? Probably. I don't know. It's messed up.
Do you think we give the Oscars and different award shows too much power?
See, now this goes back to me just not watching anything. Yes and no. I do think, because I hear a lot about how, you know, the Oscars so white thing. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely, I mean, I don't think people would just go ahead and raise that as a topic if it wasn't happening. I do think we definitely need to learn to really appreciate good content and not put a race to it. I don't understand why that's a thing. It's just how history was written, I guess, you know? But I guess, and it's hard, because like you can speak sense to people, but some people just choose to continue to go backwards. It's a thing. I don't know. Who knows? I might be crucified after this. Well, oh well.
But it ain't finna happen.
God willing, it's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Again,
But
questions?
I guess what would you say keeps you motivated? I guess as looking to the future, since we're all about to graduate and move on, what would you say is going to keep you motivated to chase success?
battle the loans and all that. Yeah. What keeps me motivated? Like I mentioned, the people that I've mentioned earlier, and just like the fact that you really can do anything you set your mind to. My friends had brought up a good example, and I think this is the best example to use. Is just the airplane. You know, that's a flying piece of metal that can stay in the air for 24 hours. That makes no sense, bro. It just lets you. It sets the standard for what type of planet we live on. I think anything is actually possible, bro. Like, and it's a matter of you just thinking it. If you can think it, you can do it. It just takes a lot. You're gonna have obstacles. It's the same thing with in order of success, like how I was talking about earlier. You have to fail before you succeed. You're gonna go through failures, but the reason for the failure is because it's gonna put you on a track where it's muscle memory. You're gonna fail so many times that it's muscle memory. So when you get to the successful point, you'll never fail again. Or you might, but it's another lesson you're gonna learn to stay in that like position. That's why. But let me just stay within the confines of the question. And you would have to repeat the question because I lost my train of thought. But
What motivates you to continue to see?
Yeah. Yeah. Give me a second to process that. I lost my train of thought again. What's wrong with me?
Boy,
It's all
Jesus.
good.
bro, we dangerous, bro. We dangerous with the questions.
Nah. Yeah. These questions are hard, man.
Dangerous with it.
This is a really good interview, man. I hope.
My team over there. My team solid.
Jeez.
My team solid.
Yeah. Yeah. What? That and the fact that I guess with the airplane, what I'm saying is just I'm talking about airplanes. It shows there's literally no, you cannot put a compress onto, you know, what the limits are. If you can think you can do it. But I can bring it back to the people that I mentioned that inspire me. Kevin Hart is a comedian. How do you tell comedy in a comedy club? Okay, cool. How do you completely take it out of its own element? He told it in a football stadium. Like what? That doesn't make any sense, but he did it. You have people like King Batch. All right, cool. He's just a viner, right? Yeah, well, at the same time, that viner was able to be on a stage with the greatest movie star in the world at a point in time, Will Smith, and Martin Lawrence, and all these other people, these big name blockbuster people, and has been on stage with them. It's like these people, they just defy what people will say is impossible. Everything's impossible until somebody does it, you know? And that's the mindset I want to keep into 2020 and just like further on. And I know inevitably, I can say this factually, I'm probably gonna fail at some point in time after this interview, and that's okay because I always fail forward. Because like, you know, I'm willing to struggle because I know I'm gonna need that base to keep me where I'm at when I'm successful. It's literally straight up like that. So yeah.
When you get your sponsorship that's long overdue from these different, you know,
Appreciate it.
media companies, and you get, let's say, $1 million, what's the first thing you're gonna buy?
I'm gonna buy my student loans. But I gotta put the money back. You know, I think that might be the first thing to do. I'm pretty sure my student loan, what I owe is not $1 million. I'll have something left over. But I guess the right answer here would be invest.
You gotta say the right answer. What would you do?
You know, what would I do? I probably would invest, but I wouldn't invest in like the stereo stocks. I would invest in my craft. I wouldn't put money down unless I know it's a project I want to do, that I know could do great, that I know I could receive return on investment for. And if I don't, like I said, I failed, but if I could make $1 million, I probably could make another. You can do something once, you can do it again. So, yeah.
So people who may not have access to like the editing software that you use, or maybe the camera quality, the camera stand, what would your kind of be the quick fix to kind of get up and going?
Just to start, for example. Just to start. That's the answer. Like, for example, my videos, I only use my phone. I don't think I've ever, except for like once, I did like a little skit on like I'm not gonna give away the location. I did a skit. I'm not gonna say nothing. NDA. But just start. I think everybody has a problem with, and I had a problem with this too. Everybody has a problem with making their stuff look complex and eye-catching for the first of whatever it is they're doing. Just start, and then from you starting, it's the same thing with trying and failing. You'll be able to watch it, and you'll be able to see what's wrong with it, and then you'll be able to say, okay, I can move this there. What can I do with what I have here? And then that's how you move. Start. If you don't start, you're not even gonna go in circles because you didn't start. So just start, and then you'll get better from there. If you want the high-end equipment, just get good at what you do. The money will come for you to get that stuff. Don't lose all the money you have now. Instead of investing in equipment, invest in props. No, that was a bad answer. Invest stocks. Oh well, stocks. That's my answer, stocks.
I feel that.
All right, so let me ask you something. So King Batch and Kevin Hart, they have millions of followers on IG.
Mm-hmm.
You have not yet reached that level of followers.
That's a fact.
Have you ever considered buying followers?
Never. But
Like a page is being sold. If you did, what would the number be, and how much would you pay for it?
I wouldn't pay a cent for it. Here's why. Because, I mean, you can buy followers, you can't buy engagement. Your following will go back to whatever your deserving following will be the minute you start posting. It's just what it is. A lot of people I'm not going to put nobody out. I mean, I don't know nobody, but, you will see people that have followers. Let's give out a number. 50,000 followers. No, not even 50,000. 1 million followers, but they only have 19 likes. That means either everybody died, or it doesn't make sense unless they had an entire I don't know. They died. But yeah, I wouldn't buy it. Now I will confess to something. If y'all can drag me if y'all want. At a point in time on Vine, when I didn't know this was before I started making Vines, because I was like, I want to do this seriously. Maybe before I was at 1,000, I probably got an app, and it was basically it wasn't you were buying followers, but it was I don't even remember how it would work. Your stuff would show in a feed, and then people would like the stuff, so they would still see it. Yeah. But it was in a way where it was it boosted it in a more likely way than it would if a natural person were to just find your content. So yeah, that happened. I only gained probably about 100 followers. So if y'all want to crucify me, I've bought 100 followers. That happened in my life. That's about it. Other than that, everything's earned because you'll see it in my engagement. If not, everybody died. All right, so yeah.
That question kind of focuses on the business side of creativity. Do you think the business side of any entertainment industry kind of kills creativity?
Yeah, a lot of businesses will they want your creative control, and they think it'll sell. It's the same thing with, I think I had mentioned earlier, just how businesses don't know social media. They'll try and impose what you should do to the comedian or whatever it is the social media influencer does when they know their audience best. Give them the creative control to do what they can do. That way, your stuff is authentic and stuff like that. I would never accept it. I have accepted specific deals where I'd had to advertise stuff, but I had the creative control over it. The minute I don't, and I sound like a computer, and I'm saying something, and I'm holding the product up, I've lost my authenticity. I've lost my, this is, like I said, authenticity. I would have lost it, And I think your audience can see right through it. What? People can tell when there's a gun behind your head, bro, and you're on camera. Not behind, but behind the camera, there's a gun being pointed. Right. They can tell. It's a difference in the way you communicate. The urgency is there. You gonna tell me your eyes wouldn't be wide and try to communicate to the people? Hey man, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and blink twice and just go ahead. I don't know, but yeah, that was weird.
What are the different forms of creative control that for people that don't know? What kind of forms would it be?
I'll just go from partly and total. Let's say you're a business and you're trying to make me promote a product. All right, cool. You're gonna probably say at some point I gotta a raise. Here's a big one that's out, and I've seen a lot of celebrities use it. There's this. I'm not gonna see now. They're trying to get a sponsor out of me just from. It's a can. It's a drink.
Oh. Man.
You have to show the drink. Yeah. You have to drink the drink.
Yes.
Yep. I've seen it everywhere.
Yeah, we know that drink.
And that's what you have to do. That's the creative control within the contract. You have to show the drink. You got to drink the drink. What if I had a more creative way of showing how the drink works? I don't know. Maybe had an obstacle course with the drink. Didn't show it. I mean, I showed it, but I didn't have the close-up, the mandatory close-up that needs to be there for me to get paid. And then it lands in my mouth. It's whatever. That's the obstacle course, bro. What am I supposed to do? How do I finish that sentence? But like, hey yo. But nah, it's like that. That's is part creative control. Full creative control is they're giving you an entire storyboard of, all right, this is that first shot, this is the second shot, and you're gonna say this exact sentence at the end. You want your creative control because you know your audience best. So yeah, partly all that.
So like if you're in charge of running a Super Bowl ad,
Ooh,
how would you do it and what brand would you choose?
That's a big one. How would I do it? Because that's one of
30 seconds.
One of my 30 seconds. How would I do it?
Commercial.
I would make. Oh, okay, not 30 seconds to answer. All right, because I don't know what I would have said. If I had a Super Bowl commercial, I need to know what the product is. I want full creative control. I mean, well, no, because you got to be humble with that. I feel like a lot of people run with it, like, no, I got it, and then you're gonna realize the ratings were complete trash from the commercial. I would see what they want me to do. Like, I'll say I want most of the creative control, but I want to see what your suggestions are. And then I'm going to skew it into what I think I can do. We'll go back and forth with it, because a lot of money's on the line, man. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary, but that's dope. What ad would I do it for?
Yeah.
Hey, man, Doritos has, like, a lot of good ads, bro.
Yeah.
Speaking into existence, bro. They probably want some.
Yeah, did I say
Give them
Doritos?
an idea right now.
Yeah, Doritos, come on, man. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram, at Metroo with 2 O's. Is there? Yeah, I could whip something up. Definitely. But like, yeah, probably like Doritos. I don't know who else, but definitely Doritos. Like, I was just about to like go off into a different topic, but yeah, there's that. We were talking about the Super Bowl. Like, let's stop there. Not with like the interview. Y'all know where y'all gotta do. I'm saying with that specific question. Let's change. Let's I'm gonna just look down until you guys do what y'all gotta do.
Do you take the camera again, see the time we at?
I feel like we probably crossed like an hour, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably.
It was all good stuff, man.
So we see it like this, bro. We ain't ready.
Yeah, hour 14.
Damn. Flies.
I mean, we can sum it up. We can sum it up. Well, we'll,
Yeah, I guess I
we'll
can
promote at the end.
I'm saying, just anything else you gotta promote.
Yeah.
If we don't be done, y'all, any more questions y'all wanna ask them?
Let me do one more real quick. So at the beginning of the interview, you said there was Vine told you that they were gonna give you a certain amount of days before all those vines were gone. So you were able to save them.
If I remember, don't fact check me on that. I'm pretty sure like there was like a war. I don't know if it was from email or if it was when you went to the site that I remember there was a date. It just happened. It didn't happen that long ago, but yeah, that did happen though. That they wanted you to save your stuff.
So did you save any of your videos?
Oh, of course, I've saved everything.
Most of them?
Most of them. I didn't like actually go through everything and save all of them. Like they're already on. Someone's already like put them on YouTube. But like so there's that. That's the reason why I didn't save everything.
Gotcha.
So everything's all in the archives. It's there.
So what is your cringiest video?
My cringiest video.
Yeah.
This is my very first Vines. The very first Vine. If I dropped it, if I didn't delete it, it was like a video of me. I cursed and JaVale McGee was in it. It was like a N-words be like ball is life, and then no, it was stupid. I don't even watch basketball, so I could have been dragged off of that alone. But I think it might be out there somewhere. It was trash, but yeah, that was my first Vine. See what I'm saying? Yeah, at least I put something out there, and I realized it was trash.
Yeah.
It's still up though, so I remember my journey.
So the mentality, going from a 6-second mentality to a 15-second mentality in IG, which one do you prefer?
Now,
Yeah.
because Vine is actually back now.
Yeah.
I think 15 seconds, because 6 seconds, I don't even know how to go back to that. I'm looking what kind of Vine do I make? Now you have to go to simple mineral soil type video ideas. It's hard. You already had an entire era where everybody did it. See, y'all shouldn't have kicked the creators off that, man. They would have kept on going. People were getting movie deals. People were paying their rent. So.
Yeah.
But that happened, and now you got TikTok. It's gonna be hard. I say it on camera. It's gonna be hard to do TikTok, man.
You said you don't watch basketball, but talk about just kind of how the tragedy that happened to Kobe, kind of how that affected you and your art and your creativity.
Man, honestly, okay. So I don't know anything about basketball, but I do give my respect to the people that are respected in any industry. I had recently here's why Kobe affected me a little bit more than another basketball player would, even though I don't watch anything. I at least I'd watched a lot of motivational videos and stuff during my time of depression just to try and see if I could find a way out. It was like a maze. Someone I came across was Kobe Bryant. and like how he would talk about the Mamba mentality. So when people talked about that, I knew exactly what they were talking about. And then when I saw that, I saw the passion in this guy's like, you know, just voice and in his eyes when he talks about the sport of basketball, bro. Like that man was coming for heads, bro. So, and when you see someone that goes for it that hard and gave his life to do it, it's like, yo, and to see that he could die, he's one of those people you just don't think could die, because you don't really think death is real until it happens to people that are close to you, you know. So to get that, it's crazy, and it was a double gut punch, because you get Kobe, we don't know if it's real because it's TMZ, you know how TMZ is, and then we get the confirmation, and then we get rumors of the daughter minutes later, and it's like, oh my god, and then you get the daughter confirmed. It's ridiculous, bro. But nah. One thing I've recently tweeted about, you might have been able to see it while you guys were doing the CSI investigation. But like, you know, I had tweeted that like I might get canceled for the tweet that I think the reason Kobe Bryant and his daughter had went simultaneously is, one, there's a positive and every negative. I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that him dying is positive. There's no way. Like, but like, you know, but none of us know what's outside of where we are right now. I think we're all put on here for a reason. You just don't know what's on the other side. It's sad for people on Earth because, okay, you're not going to see them again, but you have no idea what's on that other side. What you can only do is live in honor of those people. I feel like everybody, when it's their time to go, it's their time to go. Here is at least something that could give you some type of comfort in the fact that he went with his daughter. Yeah, the people he left behind, I don't know how to piece that together, but Kobe Bryant actually retired from the NBA before he died. He said it himself, I've done everything possible I could to become the best NBA player I could. That gives you some comfort, because it's like, all right, cool. So he put closure on that. He did it, you know? And in his final days, he was coaching his daughter. In his last moment, he was trying to take his daughter to a game. The positive in this is, you can say, if heaven is real, he's coaching his daughter up there, you know? Like, there's that. What else? I had a gem. Oh, God, I got that. Hold on. He's coaching his daughter up there. And two, maybe that's why I think death leaves hints. The hint that I think that needs to be addressed on is maybe that's why I feel like a conspiracy theorist, but maybe that's why the video of him and his daughter went viral as a meme. It's God telling you guys, if you don't believe that, never mind, but it's God telling you guys, it's sad, but just calm down a little bit, because it's not all that bad. You don't know what's going on, you know? It's very weird, you know? He didn't die. I mean, he died abruptly, but like, you know, you get hints. His last tweet on this planet was he tipped the hat off to LeBron. 2 hours before he died, LeBron passed him in all-time NBA points. He tipped the hat off. Like, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. That leaves hints. You're gonna find it with everybody. Michael Jackson said simultaneously in a press conference or whatever, this is it. That's mad scary, but he said it. This is it. He kept on saying it. This is the final curtain call. This just in, Michael Jackson. I was like, whoa. Now he didn't kill himself, but you know. That's there. It's there. This is true stuff. Like,
we had a topic. This probably the last question before we wrap up. We had a topic: R. Kelly versus Michael Jackson on the last episode. What do you think?
Come on, man. R. Kelly versus Michael Jackson on what?
Life.
Life? Like who's what? Oh my God! Like who's seen better days or who?
All the legend stuff that they
the legend stuff. Hey man, either way, that stuff nasty. The thing is, all right, I'm not gonna answer, but I will say this: it's a question that needs to be asked. Should we separate the artist from their art? Because that's a deep question. I'm a mess up somewhere in there, like, you know.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
both messed up situations, but should we separate the artist from their art?
And that's where we're going to leave it off, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys watching. Metro,
Yeah.
you got anything you got to say?
Follow me on Instagram at Metroo with 2 O's. Yeah, dude, you know.
Yeah, we'll plug all this info in the description.
Yeah.
Yep. And that'll be a wrap. Thank you very much from the Vaugiotto Echelon team. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Peace. Can you say the name of this again?
Vaugiotto Echelon.
That sounds expensive.
That's the clothing brand.
Mm.
Sick clothing.
Sound expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catch you.
I like that.